Airbnb, they talk a little bit about what the troubles that they ran into. I mean, I think probably people are aware that, once you, especially in big cities like San Francisco, once you start, turning your house into an Airbnb, you're now pushing rents up, and things like that. So talk a little bit about the trouble that, even though they weren't, Chesky wasn't such a big personality, what they were really doing to cities like San Francisco.
Right. Well, I think maybe it would be useful, first to identify two uses of Airbnb. And this is a mass simplification, but let's call them the good Airbnb and the bad Airbnb. The good Airbnb is your very cute elderly couple that's, has retired, they've got a home, they are just trying to make ends meet, and they've got that extra room downstairs or the in-law apartment in the back, and they're renting it out on Airbnb. And they are, cooking breakfast for their guests, and they're meeting people from all over the world. And you know them because Airbnb uses them in advertisements, or people like them. Now, the bad Airbnb is the guy in San Francisco or New York who now just bought his 6th apartment and lists them all not only on Airbnb, but on HomeAway and VRBO and a lot of the other sites, and has built a nice business making those 6 places available to tourists. And what he has done is not only turned residences into tourist properties, but he has annoyed the heck out of his neighbors because he's got German tourists coming into his apartment buildings at all hours of the night, fiddling with the locks and then throwing parties. You don't hear about this hotel operator because Airbnb does not advertise and does not even like to talk about this particular fellow. So these are simplifications, but it's been the balance of the good Airbnb and the bad Airbnb that has been an issue. In places like San Francisco and New York, where home prices and rental rates have gone up just for a lot of reasons, because cities are more attractive, millennials are flocking to them. It's the urbanization in the 21st century, the lack of new buildings, the lack of new construction in cities like San Francisco. The watchword is affordability. It's the biggest issue here in San Francisco and in a lot of places. And in the stew of hot button issues around affordability is the bad Airbnb. And we don't really know how much it's contributing, but it's a radioactive topic. I mean, certainly there are hotels and hotel unions that are agitating to just limit Airbnb, but there are also community groups and neighborhoods and legislators who are worried that you're taking residential properties and residential communities and and poisoning the well with some commercial operators and tourism. Now, the one extra piece of this is that in the early years, Airbnb wasn't a great partner, despite its rhetoric to cities, in policing its own marketplace and it's limiting the bad Airbnb. It talked a good game, but often when it came down to it, it said, well, we're a marketplace and we're protected by laws that protect internet marketplaces, and we don't really have to be a policeman. And over the years, it's realized that it has to do a better job, and it's done a better job in becoming partners with cities, policing the bad Airbnb, limiting the number of nights that people can list properties, making sure that every host only has one property in cities like San Francisco that are demanding it. But, there's still frustration with the company, and there's still some critics who say that a lot of the growth in Airbnb's core business is from the commercial operators, from the bad Airbnb, that is where they make most of their money. But I have to say the company has been masterful at managing its brand, managing its reputation, and not allowing the abuses of its system, the bad Airbnb, to kind of come to define the company. Everything you hear from them around community, around the empowerment of hosts and the economic impact, they tend to really draw attention to the good Airbnb. And I think that's why they have very successfully protect their brand and to avoid some of the problems that have plagued Uber.